Aloha, this is Aaron from Hawaii Music School, and I'm teaching this lesson for HawaiiMusicSchool, the guitar class. Okay, so we've been going over 12-bar blues for the past, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks. And so what we're doing is we started with this pattern here where we went on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th string, right? And we're picking 5 and 4. And we're going to go on the 2nd fret and then go back. So it's going to go. And then we did this little thing where we went. Okay, so that's on the 3rd fret of the 5th string and the 4th fret of the 5th string. Okay, so open to open 3, 4. Okay, so on the 4th one, that's when we do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's when we do that little lick. Okay? And so we're going to do that twice. Okay? After we do that, we're going to do the same thing on the 2 strings below. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to be on strings 4 and 3. And when we do this, we're going to cut the time in half. So we're just going to go. Okay, so it's going to go 1 time, and on the 2nd time, that's when we do that. So 1. And then we're going to go back up and do what we just did on those strings with that same count onto the strings we started on. So. Okay, so all together from the start we've got. Okay, so now we're going to go to the E chord, and to do that we're going to go to the 5th string and the 6th string. But instead of doing our pattern, instead of doing that pattern, we're going to go 2, 4, 5, 4. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing on the 4th and 3rd strings, and then now on the 5th and the 4th. And then we're going to do this thing where we go. Okay, so what that is I'm holding a D7 chord. And so I'm taking finger number 1, putting it on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Finger number 2 is going to go on the 4th string, 4th fret. Finger number 3 is going to go on the 5th string, 5th fret. And then the pinky finger number 4 is going to be on the 3rd string at the 5th fret. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this shape up. So 1 more fret up, 1 more fret up. So it goes bum, bum, bum. Okay, so from the D7, we're going to move it up to D sharp 7 or E flat, however you want to look at it, and up to E7. Okay, so all together, sounds like this. Now, the thing about this is, you're going to notice that it doesn't sound like this when you're doing it like this. It's because I'm resting my palm in my pick hand right onto the saddle. So I'm not on the strings all the way, because then it wouldn't make any sound, right? I'm right here where I'm just kind of doing what's called a palm mute. when you get that voicing, we want to make sure that when we go down it translates, when we go up it translates. So you want to make sure that your palm is focused on staying on those two strings, but we don't want to press too hard, and we don't want to come too forward, because if it's too much this way or if we're pressing too hard, it's not going to make any sound at all. Okay, that's the first part. That's where we did our rhythm section. Now, when we did the lead section, the first thing I showed you was the minor pentatonic scale. And if we look at the minor pentatonic scale, in this case, we're going to use the A minor pentatonic because we're doing a blues in A. Let's look at our picture. We have the 5th fret, 6th string. Then we're going to take our pinky and we're going to put it on the 8th fret. Now we move down a string to the 5th fret, 5, 7, and we're going to go down one more, 5, 7, down one more, 5, 7, and then we go back to 5, 8, and 5, 8. So our first picture is and then we're going to go backwards. Okay? So that's going to be our minor pentatonic scale. And you're going to practice that by going up and down. Now, the next thing we're going to do is sequences. So what a sequence is we play a series of notes and then we repeat it. So in this case, we're going to go. It sounds a little difficult, but it's not. Okay, all it is we're playing the same notes, but we're going up. We're going 1, 2, 3. And then we're coming back down. We come down for 1, and we start 2, 3 after that. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what that is going up 1, 2, 3 notes. Now I come back for the note I just played, and I start the sequence from that note. 1, 2, 3. Now I go back, the last note I played before playing this note was this one, so I go up 3 from there. Okay, so the last note that I played before this one was here, so I'm going to go 3 from there, and so forth. So and backwards, same thing. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing, is sequencing. Now the next thing we did was we looked at each of those chords. So when we started off, that's a representative of an A7 chord. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an A7 arpeggio. It's a big word. It just means I'm playing the chord in, one note at a time. No big deal. So we start here. 5th fret of the 6th string, okay, and this is for A7. So when we play this chord, when we play that chord, we're going to play this arpeggio, and it's going to be 5th fret of the 6th string. We're going to go down one string, and we're going to play the 4th fret. Now we're going to stay on that same string and play the 7th fret. Now we're going to go down one more string onto the 4th string, play the 5th fret, 7th fret. Now we're going to do this thing where it kind of looks diagonal, like stairs, like this. So it's going to be 7, and then down one string, 6, and down one string, 5. Okay, so far we have this. 5, right? 4, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5. Now I'm going to bring my pinky up to 8. Okay, and I'm going to go down to 5. Okay, so on that, after we do that run, that stairs, on that same string, we're going to go up to 8, and I'm going to end on 5 of the first string. Okay, so 5th fret, next string we go 4th, 7, then we go down to the 4th string, 5, 7, and then we go down to the 3rd string, 6, down to the 2nd string, 5, 8, and down to the 1st string, 5. you're going to play that one. And you're going to do your sequencing for that. Just play 3 notes up. And just do it up that way. Okay, so work on that. The next arpeggio we're going to do is going to be the D7 arpeggio. So that's when we go to this chord. Okay, now we're looking at the D7 arpeggio. So for D7, we're going to start on the 5th fret of the top string. 5, 8. And now we're going to go to 5, but here's the catch. We're going to use finger number 2. So 5, 8, then we're going to slide, so we shift positions. Finger number 2 now comes to the 5th fret. Because finger number 1 onto the next string is going to go onto the 4th fret. Okay, so it looks like this. 5, 8, switch strings, 5, switch strings again, go down to the 4th string. It's going to be 4, 7. Okay, so it looks like that. Now we're going to come back after we do this over here to the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Okay, so what we have so far, 5, 8, switch strings to 5, use your switch to your 2nd finger. Okay, now we're going to go down to the 4th and going to go 4, 7. Now we're going to use our 1st finger to come back to the 5 of the 3rd string. Okay, now that sounds confusing, but it's really not. Okay, and so from here we're going to go 7. Now we're just going to roll our finger back, so meaning we're just going to kind of roll it down this way to the next string on 7. Okay, now I'm going to go to the 1st string, 5, and to the 8th fret. Okay, 5, 8. So altogether it looks like this. 5, 8, switch position, use finger number 2 and go to 5. Then we're going to go 4, 7. And we're going to switch strings again, shifting position back to where my 1st finger is on the 5th fret. And we go 5, 7, 7, right? 5, 7, and then 7 on the 2nd string. And now we're going to go to the 1st string, and this is going to be the 5th fret and 8th fret. So. So that's, and when we work it backwards, remember that position switch. So where I'm going, so you see how I use that finger there. Okay, and that's going to be our D7 arpeggio. Now the last arpeggio we did was E7. Okay, so for the E7 arpeggio, it's a little bit different because we're not starting on 5 anymore. Now we're starting on 4. So let's go back and we're going to take our 1st finger and put it on the 4th fret of the 6th string. And so we're here, it's going to be 4, 7. Okay, now we're going to take finger number 2 and we're going to go on the 5th fret of the 5th string. 5, 7. Okay, so 4, 7, switch, 5, 7, switch. Now we're going to put our ring finger onto the 6th fret. Okay, so okay, now next thing we're going to go to the 3rd string and we're going to go to the 4th fret with our 1st finger, and then our pinky comes to the 7th fret. So 4, 7. Now our middle finger, our 2nd finger, is going to go onto the next string, 2nd string, and this is going to be on the 5th fret. And then we go back here to the 1st string, 4, 7. So altogether the pattern is 4, 7, 5, 7, 6. Going down, 4, 7, and then 5, 4, 7. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, now that was your E7 arpeggio. Okay, so work on those 3 arpeggios as well as the pentatonic scale. Now how this translates is when we look at this, over that chord you can play the pentatonic, or we can play the arpeggio for that chord. So this was A7, we're going to play the A7 arpeggio. Again, we don't want to play it like that, right? Because that's kind of cheesy to sound like a scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix those notes together and kind of... Okay, we're going to do those kinds of little mixing and matchings of those two scales. Now, when we go to the D7, right, when we go to this chord, that's when we're going to do the D7 arpeggio. Okay, so we're going to look at that like this with the D7 arpeggio. Again, we don't want to play the arpeggio, right? We just want to make it sound. And we can also mix in the minor pentatonic. So, okay. Now we're going to go to the E7, do the same thing, the E7 arpeggio, right? And we can still do the minor pentatonic over that. So, okay, we got the minor pentatonic going on here. And we've got our E7. That's what you're going to work on. You're going to try to get it so that everything transitions very smoothly. But this week, what I wanted to teach you, because this is just a review of what we've already gone over. Okay, so you remember we talked about like the shape I called like the diamond shape, right? So here's what we're going to do is it looks like an arrow pointing this way. And so what it is we have, you know, two notes in the same fret and then one back that way one. So what we have over here is we're going to start this one on the 5th fret, 5, 4, 5. And this is going to represent my A7 chord. So if I go, so I'm going to play this. Now what I'm going to do with this though is I'm going to go, and I'm going to go up here. So this is both on 7. So this is on the 3 strings in the middle, so it's going to be 4, 3, and 2, and I've got 7, 6, 7. Okay, and that's on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, and I'm going to slide that back a whole step. So this is going to go from the 7th fret down to the 5th and 4th. Okay, so 7th and 6, 5 and 4. So it goes. And then the last time we do it, we're going to go, and then we're going to go up here, and this is on the 9th fret, okay, so 9 and 8, and it's the bottom 3 strings, so 3rd string, 9, 8, 9, okay, so it sounds like that. Okay, now we're going to go to the D7 chord. Now remember the first thing we did that. Those are going to represent those chords. So this D7, we're going to play that one. And then we hit that note here. So the same thing, it's going to be the bottom 3 strings, and it's going to be 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret. Okay, so it's, and then we're going to back to that shape. Okay, so on the E7 shape, it is exactly like the D7, except we moved it up 2 frets. So it's going to be, the diamond shape will be here, right? So 7, 6, 7, and this will be down on 5. So, but from there we jump right up to D7, back to the A7, and then we do the walk up. Okay, so it sounds like this all together. okay? And that's what you're going to play this week. So you're going to work on that. So go back and review everything that we did, the pentatonic scales, the 3 different arpeggios, the first run down there, and now our new run over here using the new chords, okay? And so I will see you guys in another week, and we're going to expand upon that idea and get it there. All right, guys? So have a great Christmas break, and I'll see you when I see you.